According to YouTube, I do not have enough subscribers to sustain myself. So please like and subscribe. And if you want a coaching session, click the top link in the bio. Otherwise, sit back and take some notes and enjoy the video.
Anyway, let's see who we're coaching today. Diamond 2 Omen player. So you go for utility. Can I ask why?
Well, I love the classic, to be honest. I don't mind using the classic, so I thought, if I enjoy using the classic, I kind of might as well get util, if that makes sense. That's how I think about it.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind you going full utility on Omen. I definitely like seeing people in lower elos, and when I mean lower, I mean basically below Radiant, go for an upgraded pistol. Don't get me wrong, I love full utility, especially on an agent like Sky or Fade. But on an agent like Omen,
Yeah.
the blind requires a little bit of setup. And also, I will talk to you that Omen is just not the best on blind.
I know,
is
yeah, I know
just
you-
a better
yeah.
pick, and so is Astra. Both of those are better picks.
Yeah.
But so just something to think about. But Omen
Jump
can
shot.
suffice.
Yeah. Dude,
Okay, so it's really easy to control like extremities, right? It's not hard to control hookah, and I think hookah on Omen is actually pretty strong. Or like not just Omen, but like Brimstone as well. I think it's pretty strong, but I'm pretty sure you fighting for like orb control and fighting for these extremities is a lot easier. Because I want you to think about this, right? A lot of people when they play bind, what do? They go short or they go hookah, right? They'll usually send 1 to 2 towards the outsides of the map, and the outsides of the map is really easy to win when you're playing smokes, right? Because you just smoke it off and you just hard hold it, right? And getting that control makes it almost impossible for the enemies to like go into a post plant position, if that makes sense. I think the smoke would have been really good here. Also, when you're adjusting the smoke and it's like these small increments, I notice you do this. You notice how you click mouse
Oh,
button?
I get to...
No, you click mouse button, like left mouse and right mouse. Just use your WASD keys. When you're going, okay, so this is what's called like updating yourself, right? The whole idea of like when you're going into a situation, you need to assess what you have to make that situation as easy as possible, right? So anytime you go into a situation, what utility do I have? Who do I have alive? Okay. And then go from there, right? It should only take like 0.5 seconds to do this, right? You should be able to gaze at your utility and be like, okay, I know I have a smoke. I can either smoke here. What the fuck? I can either smoke here or here, right? and whatever one you choose, right? Smoking here is to smoke the bomb, but we don't have this control yet. So maybe smoking short would be best. I would clear out this control and then, go from there, right? You have a blind, which is great. You choose to use it, but there's just more utility that you could have used that would have served like really well, right? So for example, right, something you could have done is like smoke here and then like use this blind to like hit here, right? And then you guys can go out and you can smoke here, right? Or something you could have done is just like, smoke close and then you could have blinded, cubby like this, right? And then now that you smoked off the bomb, you can go through, you can clear this, and then this guy will be blinded, so it's not that big of a deal, right? You see there's different ways you can play it, but that's the whole point that you need to start getting in the habit of, right? It's like this is just a basic of like utility usage and then thinking about how you should use it and like why you should use it. So here's the thing, right? Think about your team as a whole, right? So this is the concept of strong side. Yeah, we already talked about that. This is the concept of strong side, weak side. About the whole adjusting smokes, we already talked about it. So if there are 2 people towards B, you guys should be playing towards the same lane per se, for the most part.
Right.
And typically playing around your teammate's teleporter, right? So you playing in hookah here, right? But you haven't calmed this to your teammate, right? Which is like, whatever, right? But you're playing in hookah, so it's like you probably want your breach to play in hookah with you. And then also play around the TP. And the reason why you play around like TP side, so for example, you'd play around hookah or play around showers whenever you're like 2. Now obviously this is just like not every time, but the majority of the time is like if you're playing around one of these 2, think about how either they can support you, but if you're weak side A, it's like they can support you again, right? By forcing like a crunch onto the enemy team, right? So just something a little bit more basic with bind, but yeah, because in bind there's always going to be a situation where there's going to be 2 or 3 or 3 or 2. Does that make sense? So that's first thing. Next thing is like you're jump spotting for this control and get this information. You can do that, but like also this team's kind of shown where they're going, so it's like you could just listen for footsteps. If you don't hit your footsteps, then you could like jump spot if you needed to.
Okay.
I don't mind the jump spot, but it is just a little bit risky. Not only that, but if you're fighting for hookah, you might as well just smoke here and like just create that pressure, right? You showed that you were here, right? If you throw this smoke, it forces them to use more utility to get through this smoke. Does that make sense? Not only that, but you also have a breach, so it's like you might as well fight for long with a breach, right? You should always,
and stuff.
yeah, you should look at your teammate's utility and think, okay, what do I have to like fight around this, right? So for example, smoking down here and then like kind of jiggling this, right? Kind of jiggling this like right here, and then waiting for your breach to tremor and then flash for you would be an amazing thing. Like, hey, they're coming up, can you tremor? Okay, now flash. Okay, now I just get free kills. But yeah, so it's like a lot of this just kind of comes down to like our thought process of what we're doing, right? Because a lot of this to me just looks like we're kind of going through like emotion. Like we jump spot, we see them, and then we run all the way to site, right? We give up everything in hookah for free, and we make audible cues of us running out, right?
I switch.
Why do you smoke this off instead of going for the fight? Think about your situation. Your situation, right? I don't mind you smoking, right? I don't think it's a terrible play per se, but also, I mean, think about your situation, right? You're in a 4v2, right? Because as somebody dies, right? Remember how you just talked about this? As somebody dies, you want to update your situation, right? So already, right? If you look here, as you smoke, somebody dies, update our situation. Somebody dies, you know, okay. Now we know that we're 4v3. This breach is about to die, right? Because if you look at the minimap, you know he's about to die. So you should just run over to him. And then like, you know, now it's 2v4. You can go for your fight, right? Because a lot of them might not be expecting, and you know they're probably gonna go for the breach's gun, which is what the Jet probably dashed for. Anyone else in chat struggling with fantasy football this year? You a fantasy footballer? Oh shit. It's like you have to expect where people are gonna be. The way you pathed around spawn was like this. Do you see all the curves? Right? When in reality, when you go up into new angles, it should be very rigid. Because think about how you appear on their screen, right? So for example,
I should be crab walking.
No, not crab walking. No.
No, but like, okay, sorry.
No. You should just be going in straight lines, right? So it's like the way you did it, right? For example, is like this. Do you see how that's a longer path than just peeking them like this? Or what the fuck? Straight line. Right? Do you see that's how longer path? And then here you're going like this, right? Instead of just like this. And then like you're not ready for this fight. So like at least hard clear the common angles, right? So common angles would consist of this, right? And then up here as well, right? So you should be like peeking specifically for these, right? So something you can start doing, it's just really fun. Talk about this on smokes, because like smokes a unique role in the sense that like you kind of have like your own wall in a way, because like you can cover yourself, right? So something you can do if you're playing hookah is you can smoke and let the smoke protrude out, and you can walk backwards and then you can peek them like this from out here.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't expect it in lower elos, and I get a lot of free kills. And anybody that's watched me play my Sheriff Only 2 Immortal series has seen me do this with like outside of showers, where I'll smoke like right here, and then I'll walk here, and then I'll walk out, and then I'll peek out from out here. Right? It's like the same concept, right? A lot of people don't expect it because they're like, oh, they're smoking, like especially if you've conditioned them that like, oh, I smoke to contain this information, like contain this space, right? And then all of a sudden one time you just walk out of it, and they're like, bro, what the fuck? Okay, now this is a point where we've gone through 4 rounds, and this is a point where I'd like to see you start thinking about what the enemy's done, right? A lot of times this enemy has killed you twice on flank, right? So they're not like trying to play explosive, right? This is the type of team where they'll show a lot of presence, but they'll just look for like fights and engagements, right? So for example, this is the type of team where like, you know, smoking off like certain like points is like really advantageous, right? So smoking off like extremities against this team is like super strong. Or like if you hear them outside of hookah and you want to play in hookah, smoking off like this and then just playing in hookah is like really annoying for them to deal with. Because like if you also think about it, the hard flash have is KO. So like what you can do is like smoke off hookah, right? And then you can play in the window cell, right? So what I mean by on top of the window cell, so you can be peeking this angle. So if the KO does flash, you can fall out and you can just sit right here. Okay, this is a thing, right? I get your thought process. They might TP. This is like a really heavy gamble, right? It's 3v5. You got to go for a play. So if your play is like, I really think they're gonna TP, then sure, right? And maybe they do TP here. Maybe you're right, right? But like in reality, a lot of times what I want you to do is once you start going for like a basic like, you know, I'm rotating because I think they're going A or they're committing to A, then just go A, right? Just like commit to it. And more times than not, it'll help you out.
What's happening? Okay.
Oh, there's one TP.
Joe,
you should smoke here. Why don't you smoke here? It's because they don't know you're here. If you have to relive this moment, right? Relive this moment and tell me how you're playing this, right? They 2 TP'd, whatever, your back site. What do you do?
I guess maybe wait for them to get on site and then surprise them.
Don't you think they're gonna clear the site anyway? I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can play this, right? You can go with a site gamble and you can play right here, but this is like a 2 max angle, right? So you need to play an angle that gives you an escape. Okay, in my opinion, you just shift walk out and you play right here and you play long. So when they drop out, you kill and then you go towards long, right? And then you kill another if they chase you, right? And this way you have an escape, right? Because they're TPing, so they're going to be right here, comparative to over here, right? So it's like you have an escape and you're really threatening and really annoying to deal with. Because like think about this: if you get on site and your elbow, and let's say you kill 1 or even 2, right? And then it turns into like a 2v2, right? It's still not that hard to deal with you because they know where you are, right? They know where your elbow. But once you're here, it's like that's really annoying to deal with, right? Because it's like they can't plant the bomb in the traditional spots, which means they have to plant safe, and they have no post-plant like avenue, right? So it kind of eliminates a lot of things. So it's like you smoking gives away that you're probably here.
This is a horrible smoke. I didn't mean to be this bad.
Nice shot, Jesus.
I'm better.
I'm already smoking.
man goes, okay, in this situation, drop the ego. Don't say I don't need to reload, right? He TPs, just reload. Just back up, reload, and then get off site and go play your 2v1 with your Raze. You could play
Okay,
on
yeah.
site, and if you are going to play on site, this is when you need to play like a super advantageous position. So like here, right? That's when you need to shift out to tier, and you need to play one of these. Like, I'm going to win this because there's too many things for him to clear, and I just killed
Okay,
2 people backside.
You think? I don't even know.
Why did I crouch away? I crouched
got my
away.
kill.
Why did I
I'm complaining about
crouch,
myself,
right?
to be fair.
Okay, let me ask you a question. No, why is this bad? This specific play, why is it bad? Really, really basic. Okay, 2 things, right? 1,
That's
you're
not-
already up numbers. 2, your
Oh,
teammate
right,
is
yeah,
fighting
yeah.
long, and they're fighting long. 3, you're up numbers. You are 5v3.
Yeah, off numbers, fair enough. Fair
And
enough.
you're just not playing around teammate, right? And you just took an advantageous situation to a bad one, and then you end up losing the round for it.
That's-
So, how do you feel about starting in this position? I want to ask you this. You give them both long and hookah for free. You fucking troll with these smokes, bro. You give them so much room to like walk out, bro. Just like throw the smoke. So it's not like this,
little bit,
right?
little bit.
You're throwing it like it goes as far out as possible. Just throw it. So it's like a tiny bit.
yeah, I do.
Like,
Okay.
ideally, obviously, you'd go on the line, but you can't do this with this type of smoke because it like opens up peaks from here and here, right? So
That's
it's
the
you just
worry,
do
yeah.
as little as possible. You want it to protrude as little as possible.
Just chill.
Okay, so whenever you're peeking something, right? Remember how we talked about like active crosshair position, right? What you need to think about is like you need to think about like where you can be peeked from, right? So think about this position. The odds of somebody being outside is like incredibly low, right? Because you have your Reyna and you.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like your crosshair needs to be up here, just like actively, right? When you think about it. Okay, so it's like you gotta look at like the
Wait, was that
situation.
for me?
You blinded close.
Wait. Oh, there. Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
So you gotta think about the situation, right? Like if they are like right here, it's okay to just take the fight on them, right? It's like if they die in a 2v2 and this guy's pushed close, like kill him, right? Like just peek him, right? Where it's like you're gonna want this blind when you have to take space back from the enemies, right? That sort of thing. So it's just something to think about. I think a lot of this kind of comes down to like you don't know what you're trying to do, like truthfully. You just like do something and you're like, I'm doing it, but like you don't have like a reason why. Like here, it's like this is like another thing, right? It's like you're peeking long with a classic against a team that has a chamber. Are you really thinking about what you're doing? Because I don't think there's any way you'd ever play to like your weapon like this, right? Not only that, but
I agree.
like,
I agree.
you go full utility, which is like fine, but at the same time, it's like, why do you need the blind, right? Like, what are you using the blind for? Like, when you buy utility, right? If you want to go full utility on a specific character like Omen, right? You need to be thinking, okay, like, what am I using this utility for, right? Because a blind, it has to be set in a way, right? When you're buying your blind, it's like it should be ideal with the set play. And on bind specifically, this blind fucking kind of sucks. The only thing you really have is like here, and then the only other blind you really have is like here.
What about like post plant? Like, would that ever be useful?
I mean, it could be. It is useful in post plant, but like, how are you getting to post plant? This is what I mean.
Right.
Though. This is what I mean of like you don't know
Something in
what
your
you're doing and why, right? You wait until you see a threat, right? Threat processed. Okay, I need to get off the bomb, right? It's not like, oh shit, there's a threat coming. I need to do something about it. It's like da 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 da. My teammate died. Oh shit, there's someone on my screen. Let's react now, right? It's like you're not thinking like even like 1 second ahead. You're just like doing it, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So when you're going up into a position, you should think to ask for like utility to help you get into said position, right? So for example, let's say you have a breach, right? Obviously, I think in my opinion, the breach stun is better to just do this because you can stun all of this, right? But if you have your breach here, you might as well ask him to stun close, so that way you can't get KO flashed, right? And then you can just run up. Like, dude, okay, here's the thing, right? Your aim is good, but like this whole situation, like I'm watching this and I'm like, bro, what the fuck are we even doing?
Oh my.
Right? It's like we want to go
Because we got
fast,
stuck.
but like cancel. It's like okay to
Oh, right.
cancel your plan, right? Like you're like, oh Raze, you got to entry, bro. There's a Viper wall in front of you and 2 Sage slows, so nobody can even help him if he goes in. You guys don't have showers control, right? It's like you don't have any map control and you have nothing to like entry here. And not only that, but you paranoia your own teammate.
Yo, what's my gun? I'll just give someone.
With yeah, right. Uh oh. Oh my god.
Open. I need that gun.
How can I
No.
Oh my god, it's the third time I've used X.
Okay. Think about what you just did and tell me why it's not good. So if you're ulting, right? Why are you ulting?
I think it's just to I feel like it's just a better push than not ulting. Cause I kind of see his backside in it. Like if I can get away with the ult.
Is that, yeah,
I don't know. I
anyone
feel
ready
like it's better than
is,
pushing.
is anyone ready to push with you? Like nobody's long. Your teammates already died long. Nobody's hookah. Did you tell your team what you were gonna do?
I don't think I did.
No, right? So it's like you didn't talk to your team, so they don't know you're making this play. Nobody's ready to push with you, so it's like you're not gonna be able to do anything. So this ult is gonna get canceled, or you're gonna get stared at and be forced to cancel, or you're gonna TP with spike and then get turned on and killed, right? So those are like your three options, right? Essentially in this position, it's like this doesn't give us like an advantage, and if this goes through and you don't die,
Oh my god.
it's because they troll,
Oh.
like that,
Elbow low.
right?
Just TP,
It's
just
like
TP.
What do
you
mean,
know.
TP? What does that even mean?
That's a good question.
Upper
Now the play ends up working out, but it doesn't work out because like it was a good
That's still
play.
a play.
It's like I see you make like plays and like yes they're okay on paper, but the timing of them is like terrible. You'll just like do things, right? It's like you'll blind an area,
Right.
but like nobody will be ready to capitalize off a blind, or
Nobody
like
goes left.
you do an area and then like there's just nothing you can do with it, right? And then you're just like stuck. I'm gonna be honest. Every time I go into a round, I watch us and like I don't know what we're trying
do
to
we
do. Like
push this? Probably not.
this is like fine.
Always gotta be B, guys.
Like I'm
Yeah, we
fine
can-
with this.
okay,
Just go.
yeah, keep
Just
going.
go. You got okay.
Right.
Here's the thing. When you're playing bind, right? If you have hookah and you have long and you have picks, just go out and kill them.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
Like I
you're,
said-
you're like constantly like second guessing. Like, dude, should we go? Should we not? Should we go? Should we
Oh,
not?
I
Just-
see. I
just
see.
go,
Yeah.
Right.
Watching to the end of the video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below, because God, I'd suck someone's dick to get put in the algorithm. YouTube, if you're watching this, just let me know.